name is Skylar Boshin and welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the notification button so that you can receive notification each time I post a video. Also go check out my website, which I will have linked. I post news articles at least once a month about different topics surrounding victim advocacy and sexual assault survival, victimhood, and a lot more. Today I'm going to be discussing how to support sexual abuse or assault survivors. So this is going to be directed towards family, friends, peers. So I have a couple different steps that I recommend following as a survivor. I've disclosed my abuse to multiple people in my life, and each disclosure gave me a lot of insight into how other survivors might benefit from a different type of response when they disclose, or a similar response for when they disclose. So my number one thing is to just listen. Listening to everything that the survivor has to say is the most important thing. Just being silent and letting them talk and get all of their feelings out is incredibly valuable, because asking questions and sharing your own opinions or thoughts about the situation, those can always wait. What is most important is for the survivor to be able to speak up and to tell their truth, because for so long they haven't been able to, and they've been keeping this secret inside of them, most of the times for a long time, because the average age for someone who discloses their sexual abuse is 52 years old. So when you think about it, if they experienced sexual assault when they were just a kid, even 5 years old, and they're not disclosing until they're 52, they've had so many years of being silent, and they need to just vent. They need to just be able to talk and say everything that's on their mind about what they experienced. The next thing is to validate. The best thing that I've ever received when I disclosed to someone was the immediate response, "I believe you. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I love you no matter what. I'm here to support you." That was pivotal in my recovery and my ability to go forward in life as a survivor rather than a victim. Now, the next thing is to give choices without pressure. So while you might have a vested interest in how the survivor responds to their own disclosure, they are allowed to have any response because it's their disclosure. And all survivors deal with disclosing differently. They deal with how they want to move forward differently. For me, I know that I needed time before I decided to go forward and report. Some people don't want to report at all, and that is totally okay. And I think that that's really important for people to keep in mind. Of course, if you are a mandatory reporter and you are getting told by a child or an adult that this happened to them when they were a child, you have to report. But that is just for mandatory reporters. So if you're not a mandatory reporter, you do not have to report to the police or to any other avenue about this person's abuse. It should be their decision, because up to this point, they haven't had a lot of decisions that they've been able to make. It's really important for people to be able to come back and have their own decisions and their own choices that relate to this so that they can gain their power back. One of the best ways to do that is to allow them to decide what they want to go do moving forward. So while you can provide different ideas, different ways that they can go forward and give different choices for them, whether it's therapy or going and reporting or not going to therapy, are all totally fine choices to give survivors, because everyone heals differently and at their own pace. The next thing is to be present, but provide space at the same time. A lot of the time after there's a disclosure, especially if you're a guardian of that person, there's hovering and there's a lot of watching and monitoring of this person to ensure they're safe and that they're healing and that they're okay and all of this and that. But that oftentimes is a lot more detrimental than helpful for victims of sexual abuse and sexual assault, because they don't want their peers and people who love them and support them to be walking on eggshells or tiptoeing around them. The last step that I have is to recognize how this disclosure is not only affecting them, but more specifically how it's affecting you, and for you to get support. Because I am a very big believer in that you cannot help people until they have helped themselves. When someone discloses abuse, it is very impactful for the person that is hearing that information, as well as the person that is telling that information. And so being able to talk to someone for yourself, going to a therapist yourself, can be really helpful. And if the person that disclosed the abuse is a minor and you're going to a therapist who is a mandatory reporter, you can provide a hypothetical situation so that you can receive support and you can receive information on how to move forward for yourself without violating the trust for the survivor. And so that is just one way that you can go about that. But it's extremely important to get your own support. One topic within how to help sexual assault survivors is what is re-traumatizing versus therapeutic, because that is different for all survivors. For me specifically, I have gone on to do advocacy. I have shared my story in person through speeches. I'm writing a book. I'm doing this and that, and am very outspoken about my personal experiences relating to sexual assault and abuse. However, not everyone is like that. For some people, while it's therapeutic for me, it could be re-traumatizing for them. That not everything that you view as therapeutic is therapeutic to the victim, and not everything that you view as re-traumatizing is re-traumatizing to the victim. Ask the survivor what they need. My article on how to support sexual assault survivors and sexual abuse survivors is on my website. I highly recommend to subscribe to my newsletter. All you have to do is put your email in and hit subscribe, and then go to your email and hit accept, and then you will be receiving my newsletters to your email each time I post a new one. And I hope that they're extremely helpful for you, and please let me know if there are any topics that you want me to address or discuss that I have not yet talked about. I want this to be a platform for people to learn things, not be ashamed of anything, understand that everyone's healing journey is different and everyone is allowed and entitled to the way that they move forward as a survivor.